never stays a day. A bad luck's always coming my way.
Let's get straight to the breaking news out of Hollywood this morning.
Yeah, Paul Walker, one of the stars of the enormously popular Fast and Furious movies, dead in a car crash. The accident scene tells the story. There it is. Walker was a passenger in a Porsche that collided with a pole and caught fire. The actor had been attending his charity event to benefit typhoon victims in the Philippines. We have team coverage this morning, starting with Cecilia Vega at the crash site in Santa Clarita, California. Cecilia, good morning.
Dan, good morning to you. Just take a look at these fans who spent the night out here mourning the loss of Paul Walker. When this crash happened, the fire was so big, witnesses raced to put it out with fire extinguishers, but they simply could not. And now this, a crash site turned into a memorial. Overnight, it was a joyride that ended in this.
LA 156, front scene. We have one vehicle fully involved. We have confirmed 2 DUA.
When rescue crews arrived, the twisted remains of the car seen here in this video, obtained exclusively by ABC News, still engulfed in flames.
2 people dead in this call. One of them is Paul Walker from Fast and Furious.
Right now I'm standing in the middle of Kelly Johnson Parkway here in Santa Clarita, California. November 30th, 2013, Fast and the Furious actor Paul Walker and his friend Roger Rodas died on this road. The exact spot of the crash here on Kelly Johnson Parkway is where the road turns into Hercules Street, right in front of a building called Hypercell. We're going to show you that building in just a moment. But I wanted to draw your attention to this building that's behind me up here on the hill. On November 30th, 2013, there was a security camera up there pointed in the direction where the crash happened. And it didn't actually catch the crash, but there were a few things that happened in that footage that helped investigators determine what happened. And we're going to use that footage to walk through the scene as best as we possibly can. At the time of filming this video, it's 2021, which means this November will mark the 8th anniversary of Paul Walker and Roger Rodas' death. But there still is a lot of people that come out here and pay their respects. A lot of people come out here and do burnouts on the pavement. Like you can see, this entire road is filled with burnouts. On November 30th, 2013, Walker and Rodas would have been driving right up this road right here towards where I am standing. Rodas was driving, Walker was in the passenger seat. It was a 2005 Porsche Carrera GT, a high-performance vehicle with known issues with handling, even to the most seasoned drivers. And when they got to right about this area right here, it's assumed that Rodas lost control of the car and they would have spun out over in this direction where Jessica is standing. In the security footage from across the street in that building that I pointed out earlier, you can see that there are 3 points of impact in the video. The first one being this light pole that's right here. This is a new light pole. The first one was destroyed. And then almost immediately after that falls over, you can see a tree go down as well. And that tree, well, what's left of it, what remains, is right here sitting next to Jessica. A lot of people come to this tree, or this stump, and they leave little pieces of tokens as a way of like paying their respects, remembering him. Jessica, you brought something.
Yeah.
What'd you bring? It's a little owl. I think that's perfect. You're gonna put him down there like he's living in the tree stump?
Yeah, there's a tiny little alcove that he just fits perfectly, and I was playing with it earlier, and I kind of want to try to pack him in there a little bit.
Let me get in there a little closer. There he is. I think he's perfect. And here's some other things that people have left. And I said that there are 3 points of impact. Those are the first 2. If you watch in the video very quickly, you see a 3rd tree going down, which is a little further up the road. And we can line up where the crash happened, where the vehicle came to a stop before it went up in flames. And right now, I'm standing exactly where it happened, the 3rd tree.
This camera that was posted on a building just across the street from where the crash happened, you don't actually see the crash, you don't see the car, but did you see that? The light post falling and the tree, and then you see this debris go. All right, count 60 seconds from that point, and it's not until there that you see any significant smoke. There's a wisp of smoke there, but and I'm not sure how this is edited, but the smoke is very light for 60 seconds. What that suggests is that the fire did not become a raging fire for about a minute, which would mean that the two occupants in the vehicle would have had 60 seconds to get out if they could have. What's more, having been there that evening and seeing the scene and standing actually right at those hedges looking down as the coroner pulled the bodies from the wreckage, I can tell you the significance is the 60 seconds that you don't see smoke, because what was happening then, that is the horror that Paul Walker and Roger Rodas were suffering. They were, at that time, all right, let's watch it again. The light post, you see it just goes down. That is real time there.
To give you a point of reference where everything is, that security camera that we've been talking about is across the street, mounted on this building right there on the corner. And if we pan the camera, you can see this is the road that they would have been coming up. There's the light post, the first tree, and then the second tree, and ultimately where the car came to a stop before it went up in flames. Landed, well, stopped right here, about the center of your screen. And we know this because at the time of the crash, there was somebody who was driving by that pulled out their camera phone and started recording, not knowing who was in the car, but you can see the car up in flames. And this building, that background, and that brown building over here in the background of this video.
We don't, but we came from the same area.
Is that, what car is that?
It's a Ferrari, dude.
Dude, go away, it's gonna blow up.
Dude, the guy's in there.
He died. Go! Drive away, it's gonna blow up! Drive away! Drive over there!
No, we're fine here, it's not gonna...
Dude.
Oh shit.
Don't get him hot. Get away, it's gonna blow up. It might blow up. Just.
I can't. The car is in half. I can't tell if there's someone in there.
Someone, he's dead.
Yes, there is someone in there.
When it happened, it was all over the news. There was news crews out here, and you can see this building prominently in the background as they got video of the car up in flames. Even afterwards, I mean, you can look online and you can see this building. It's still here, a hypercell. And don't get me wrong, the death of Paul Walker and Roger Rodas and how they died is very tragic. It's very sad, but what makes it even more horrible, the day that they died, they were holding an event, a fundraiser for Paul Walker's charity. And I can see the building from where I stand. Now, this is very important because after the fundraiser ended, Paul Walker got into the passenger seat of the 2005 Porsche Carrera GT, and he said, "I'll be back in about 5 minutes." And they went for a little joyride around the business park here. Now, keep in mind, I don't know why they were doing this. Maybe it was just for the thrill, but they were going close to, if not, 100 miles an hour. The road here, it's big, it's very wide, but the turns are pretty sharp. The people over there at the fundraiser, they heard the crash, and then they saw the smoke about 60 seconds later after the crash. They raced over here knowing what happened, but when they got here, it was too late. And what makes this even more tragic still is, now keep in mind that it's been this year 8 years since the death of Paul Walker and Roger Rodas, but coroner's report, autopsy, says that Paul Walker was alive for at least 60 seconds after impact, because during an autopsy they found traces of smoke inside his lungs. I can't even imagine. It's pretty wild standing here. Now, before we move on to the next location and our story on Paul Walker, I do want to take a moment and read some of the things that people have written on the curb coming here to visit this location. Now, let's see here. This one here was to say, from New York, 1973 to 2013, RIP, Paul Walker. Remember the Buster. Now, over time, this curb has been painted. I've seen pictures online of all kinds of different things written on here, almost like graffiti. A lot of people from Brooklyn, New York. And it's been cleaned up and repainted, and people just keep coming out here. Here's somebody from Germany. Heather 2021, Wood, miss you, Paul. Always in our hearts. And what's really neat, now this can't be painted, but when they set the concrete for the new light post, people came out here and they wrote in the concrete. Nothing on the pole. It looks like it's been repainted over though, doesn't it? Countless times. Let's go see if there's anything on this tree over here. I can see some stuff. Yeah. Little flower. R.I.P. Paul from Japan. Hey, baby ghoul. This one here says R.I.P. Paul from Japan. A lot of it's been weathered and torn away. You can make out R for R.I.P. and pretty crazy. Here's a shot of the back of the tree, and again, across the street, you can see that building. In fact, right about there, very tiny, is the security camera that would have caught the accident. Well, the light post and the two trees falling down. Now there's another security camera. I'm not sure where it's at, but it did catch it off in the distance, the smoke coming up into the air. And we've been standing here for about a minute, trying to figure out what this is written on the curb there. Can't tell if it's something because of the city, because of the power box, or if it's runes of some sort that somebody carved in for Paul Walker. If anybody knows what that is, please let us know in the comments down below. If you do find yourself out here in the Santa Clarita area, I highly recommend that you come on the weekend to visit this location. It is a busy road in a business park. It's actually quite astounding to be standing in the middle of this. It's a 1, 2, 3, 4, technically a 5-lane road. Come out on the weekends, pay your respects. You don't have to do burnouts like people have been doing, but it is pretty neat to still see that after all this time, all the love that people give. Before we left, I wanted to see if I can get up here where the security camera was to look over the embankment where the crash happened. Now the security camera, the footage that we keep talking about, is that one right there. And behind me, if I come down this way, let's go ahead and walk. The building and the crash would have happened right over in the center of your screen. So this is about the angle. Right down there, that lamp post was the first point of impact. The second point of impact, the tree, is right about there. And then the third is probably right on the other side of this tree trunk right there. Crazy. And then on the other side of that building, not too far, is where they were having the fundraiser the day that he died. It truly is pretty crazy to be visiting these places and seeing them. It really puts things into perspective, how real death is and how short the time we have on this earth. No matter who you are, really, just always got to be safe. All right, so let's head over to where Paul Walker and Roger Rodas had their shop. In doing research for this video, I noticed that not many people actually go to the location where Paul Walker and Roger Rodas had their garage, where the last photos of both of them were actually taken. Right here in the center of your screen is where the company, well, it still is here today, it's called Always Evolving. But what I want to point out is a couple different things. There is a photo of Paul Walker getting into the 2005 Porsche Carrera GT. And in this photo on that day before the crash, it was parked right down in this area. Now, if we get closer to where that picture was taken, you can see the bay door in the photo, but more importantly is the railing right here above the wall, that little black railing. Crazy, would have been parked right here. There actually is one more photo that was taken that day. That's actually a posed photo, and some people would say is the last photo of Paul Walker alive. And it was taken right over here at the entrance to the building, Always Evolving, pretty much right where Jessica is sitting. Now, Paul Walker is standing with somebody who was there at the event, and behind them you can see these windows, and you can also see, I'm not entirely sure what you would call these, but these little turning wheel things right above Jessica's head. I remember reading online that after the crash, after the deaths of Walker and Rodas, that they were going to auction off a lot of the cars and that they were going to close the shop. But it doesn't look like they closed, because right here in very small print there's a sign that says Always Evolving, Performance, Motors, and Racing. Oh, and there I am. Hello. At least, you know, it's nice to see that it's still here. I know in a grand scheme of things, this is a rather small stop in the story of Paul Walker, meaning everybody wants to see where the crash happened, but they spent a lot of time here. This was their business. This is where they had their hobby, their pride and joy, their cars. And ultimately, the last moments of his life were here doing something that he loved, is something that he believed in. I think it's rather important. Jessica over here stopping to smell the flowers. It's beautiful. Paul Walker's final resting place is at Forest Lawn, Hollywood Hills. And I'm not gonna lie, we were here about 1.5 years ago and we saw his grave, so we knew exactly where it's at. And it's a peaceful little plot right here. Let's get a little bit closer. And this is it. The final resting place of Paul Walker. And from here, just underneath his nameplate on the wall, I can see a little car. I'm going to walk off to the side a little bit and get a little closer. Looking online, we found a whole bunch of photos from his funeral. A whole bunch of people standing here, paying their respects and saying goodbye. It is, I can't get over how peaceful it is. Like I said, Paul Walker's final resting place is here at Forest Lawn, Hollywood Hills. Roger Rodas, however, he's buried at Forest Lawn, Glendale, which is not too far up the road. We're going to head over there in just a little bit. Had to pay our respects to both of them. Now I know that Roger Rodas isn't as well known as Paul Walker, but this video wouldn't be complete without stopping and paying our respects to him. And his final resting place is over here in what's called the Court of Christus. It says, beloved husband, daddy, son, brother, uncle, and friend, the love of my life, Roger Wilson Rodas, 1975 to 2013. The sun is playing some serious tricks on us right now with the light. I can zoom in a little bit so you can get a shot of his stone head on. But that's it.
Wherever I come, bad luck is coming my way. Wherever I go, hard luck is there to stay. Good luck never stays a day. A bad luck's always a